Road ragers wrecking, car-crushing truckers, and Tesla collisions you won't believe until you see them today on
Wham, bam, Teslacam. I hope you're satisfied.
Eric was taking his son home from playing tennis when he stopped for a red light. A Honda driver coming from the right slowed down when their light turned yellow, but the dump truck behind it didn't stop as quickly. Eric and his son heard a loud bang and were shocked to see the dump truck push the Honda into the middle of the intersection. Incredibly, everyone was unhurt as first responders arrived quickly at the scene. Eric thinks the Honda is probably totaled, and we have to agree with his assessment. It's not the only car getting totaled this week, so buckle up. When the traffic light in front of Charles turned green, he noticed other drivers running their red lights and waited until they were done recklessly breaking the law before proceeding. Sadly for him, one driver ran the red light way later than any of the others. Charles told us his Teslacam footage makes it look like he punched the juice pedal intentionally to ram the other driver, but that's not at all what happened. In reality, he simply didn't see the pickup truck, probably while it was in the blind spot behind his Tesla's A-pillar. The pickup driver was found responsible for causing the collision, and his insurance provider totaled Charles' 2024 Model 3. He used the settlement to replace it with a 2025 Model 3 with the exact same specifications. Talk about a silver lining. Ron and his wife were helping a family member move, which explains the rental truck just ahead of them as they drove down the highway. As lanes began to narrow, a Model X driver steered to the right to avoid getting too close to another car on his left. The Model X driver was using Autopilot, which initially fought his steering before disengaging. When that happened, he oversteered and sideswiped the side of Ron's Model 3. Both drivers pulled over, and Ron told us the other driver was very polite as he admitted fault and made sure they were okay. That's when he explained to Ron what had happened with Autopilot. They exchanged insurance information before continuing. Later, both drivers made insurance claims, and the Model X driver's insurance provider accepted liability after being sent the Teslacam videos. Fixing Ron's Model 3 is estimated to cost a little over $10,000 US. Night Fury was on his way home after dropping his wife off at work. His light turned green for a protected left turn, but the driver of a Genesis proceeded with a right on red without even stopping. Night Fury honked at her, and he told us he could see her yelling something into her rearview mirror before flipping him off. Evidently that wasn't enough to pacify her rage, so she swerved into his lane before brake checking him. That reckless maneuver backfired when Night Fury was unable to avoid colliding with her SUV. Before he even had a chance to talk to her or find out why she'd been so reckless, Night Fury tells us she was already on the phone giving the police her version of what had happened. When he asked her for her proof of insurance, she refused to provide it unless he showed her his ID. He described her as a classic Karen. He only had a temporary paper license with him, which was still valid, as his new driver's license had only just arrived in the mail. When a state trooper arrived at the scene, he took one look at Night Fury's Teslacam video before concluding that the Genesis driver was at fault. Now, aren't you glad you called the cops, Karen? Because of the way the law works in Minnesota, she didn't receive a citation for her reckless driving. But the trooper told Night Fury he was confident the insurance companies would agree with his ruling. Ethan was driving down I-25 when traffic suddenly ground to a halt. Ethan stopped, as did the driver of the SUV behind him, but the driver of a pickup following the SUV did not. The pickup driver admitted he hadn't been paying attention, a mistake that caused this three-vehicle collision. Amazingly, nobody involved was injured. 3 minutes after 911 was called, 3 police officers arrived. Unsurprisingly, the pickup driver was found responsible. Ethan is now waiting to find out how much repairing his Tesla will cost. Pinto was on his way home from visiting a friend when he noticed a Prius parked in a no parking zone. As he drove past it to turn onto the main road, the Prius crawled forward, then sideswiped his Tesla without warning. The Prius driver didn't speak English very well, so the two drivers exchanged information and moved on. When Pinto made a claim with the Prius driver's insurance provider, they told him the Prius driver had already filed a claim and blamed the collision on Pinto. After he sent them his Teslacam footage, they determined the collision wasn't Pinto's fault and agreed to pay to repair his Tesla. Of course, you know what we're going to say. Teslacam for the win. Celine was obeying the speed limit as she cruised down Highway 7 when the driver of a Toyota Tundra failed to yield and almost collided with her Tesla. She credits Autopilot with saving her from a collision by swerving away from the pickup as it came within an inch of hitting her car. A white Jeep behind her evidently also ran the red light, and if the Tundra had hit Celine's Tesla, the Jeep might have also become involved. She's very happy that her Tesla's advanced safety systems protected her from a 3-vehicle collision. She told us that Wham Bam Teslacam videos have taught her to be hyper-aware while driving, and she's thankful her car has cameras built in. Yuri was driving in the passing lane of I-95 when he was suddenly attacked by a wild fence. Only by smashing the juice pedal and utilizing his Tesla's instant torque was Yuri able to get out of the danger zone and avoid the flying fence. He kept going, and so did the pickup driver, who Yuri suspects didn't even notice what had happened. He told us he's considering showing this video to the state police so they'll start doing a better job of stopping pickup trucks with unsecured loads. That's not a bad idea. Rebel Hamster was heading to the Wit Museum with her son when a Kia driver changed lanes without checking for traffic. Our submitter was worried about losing control after the collision, but thankfully, she was able to keep her Tesla on the road. When she pulled off the highway, she was followed by the other driver. They made a police report, and firefighters also responded to make sure everyone was okay. The Tesla eventually shut down after the impacted wheel began making grinding noises, so it ended up having to be towed to a Tesla service center. Only 2 hours after it was dropped off, they'd already started working on it. Now that's service. Quentin was driving behind a tractor pulling a trailer when they drove past a temporary traffic light set up for a construction site. When the young man driving the tractor realized it was too wide to get past the construction equipment, he quickly shifted into reverse, so quickly that he didn't check to see if anyone was behind him. The trailer slammed into the front of Quentin's Tesla, and when the tractor driver realized what he'd done, he gave the universal sign of someone who knows they've screwed up. He became even more distressed when he found out he'd wrecked a Tesla, but Quentin assured him that everything would be taken care of by insurance. It took a month to repair his Tesla, which cost about $7,800 US. This footage captured by Mikey's Tesla ended up being the critical evidence after a collision left the police baffled by contradictory witness statements. 3 witnesses told the cops the black car ran a stop sign, while another witness told them it did stop. Mikey pulled up his Teslacam footage to uncover the truth. The video revealed that the driver of the black car on the left failed to stop, attempting to follow another vehicle through the intersection instead of stopping and waiting their turn. After Mikey provided his footage and a witness statement to the investigating officer, the case was closed. Teslacam for the win. Alan has waited 2 years to send us this video, which is how long it took the insurance companies to determine who was responsible for this collision. Alan told us the biker leapt off his bike, dropping it against the Tesla, which punched a hole in the front bumper cover. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but the biker was not happy about what had happened. Alan stopped and talked with him for 10 minutes, during which the biker told him that the collision was Alan's fault. Alan told us he was 72 years old at the time, and he chose not to argue with the biker in the street. Alan's insurance provider disagreed with the biker's assessment, but it took 2 years for them to work things out with the biker's insurance provider. Ultimately, the rider was found responsible, and his insurance provider paid for everything, including Alan's legal fees. Check out the gray Prius in the left turn lane. When the light turned green, Rob watched the driver go straight instead. When he realized they were about to collide, he knew he didn't have time to avoid it, but somehow the 2 vehicles came within inches of each other without making contact. He told us it was the weirdest thing. He braced himself for impact, ready to hear the awful crunch of metal on metal before his car sped up and swerved to the right just enough to avoid a collision. He told us he was amazed when he realized his Tesla's advanced safety systems had done this for him, all on their own. Alfred was camping and had left his Tesla in a lakeside parking lot. As the driver of a Toyota left the lot, a Honda driver waited to take their parking spot. Okay, we're not saying this was the Honda driver's fault, but the Honda was involved. Somehow, they're always involved. This time though, the Toyota driver was responsible for bumping Alfred's Tesla when he tried to squeeze past it. Alfred didn't even know about the incident for 6 days, but when he noticed the damage, he immediately reviewed his Sentry mode footage to find the cause. Not only did the Toyota driver hit and run, they actually tried to cover up what they'd done. But nothing gets by Sentry mode. Alfred has already made a police report, and his next step will be to file an insurance claim to get the damage repaired. Andrew pulled up next to a van at a traffic light, but when the light turned green, the van driver swerved into his Tesla. Andrew called 911. Police never responded to the scene. His own insurance provider sent a flatbed tow truck for his Tesla, and he took an Uber home while his car was delivered to a collision repair shop that specializes in Teslas. As he was making his insurance claim, he realized he hadn't gotten a copy of his Teslacam footage before his car was towed away. Thankfully, the employees of the body shop were able to retrieve it for him. As soon as the van driver's insurance provider saw the video, they accepted liability. Even so, they refused to pay to replace Andrew's paint protection film, so he had to pay $1,600 to replace it himself. He told us this is his first collision in 30 years of driving. He's an avid Wham Bam fan, and he purchased his first Dashcam for a 2012 Ford after being inspired by our videos. He eventually replaced it with a Tesla, and he wanted to shout out his wife Kara for letting him buy his dream car.
Wham, bam, we got a Patreon, man. Please support the show.